So that being said, we were kind of had the keys to the palace, and the rebels were running wild for a while.
Well, it definitely comes across, and the album's got a real live, high energy feel to it. So whatever it is that you guys did for this particular album,
well, it fits their performance live too.
Exactly. So I mean, congratulations! It's a phenomenal album. So that's all I'm saying.
I wanted to make a couple of comments on the videos because I have enjoyed every video you guys did, especially the "I'm Bad" video when I believe your drummer kicks the cup away from the homeless guy in the beginning of the video.
That's Adam. That's Adam Arling. He's the guitar player.
Okay, it's Adam. I wasn't sure who it was. I don't know why I like that beginning part, but I mean the song is called "I'm Bad," right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nathan, the drummer, he's the one in the bathroom stall with the hot porno star blonde.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the videos by the Las Vegas, go to YouTube, check them out. Great videos. I also liked Evil Eyes.
Evil Eyes is a great video.
Yeah, that's our latest single and our latest video.
Yeah. We heard you're a big horror fan. Is that correct?
Yeah, something that I've been into ever since I was a kid, and I guess I just never grew out of it.
Yeah, Matt and I neither have grown out of it either. So I was wondering the idea for Evil Eyes is that your idea, or is it the band's idea, or is it the person who's shooting the video for you?
Actually, all the videos that we've done have been pretty much collective, and I always try to throw the dark side into it, and I always get my way.
We have noticed that.
Evil Eyes was actually the first time that I worked with a production team that completely had this idea in their head, because it goes along with the song, and they came to us with the idea, and it's exactly what I would have done with the video. Maybe like a couple different things I would have changed with it, but I like their ideas so much. And at the time, I'm like, wow, I can actually just be lazy and just go with the flow and do what every other person does, and just kind of lip sync it and throw my groove into it. But it was the first time that I've ever worked with a team that knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, the other side video is my good friend Frank, and I had cymbal banding in that one. That was fantastic, but it was more work for all of us, because you got to write it, you got to think about it, you got to see where it's going to work, you got to do pre-production on everything. This one was just set up for me to go and hammer it in, and it was probably the funnest video I ever did, because I didn't have to do a lot. I was lazy.
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie Body Double. Have you seen that with the Brian De Palma movie?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, when he's looking through the telescope, that's what it reminds me of. Not the Jimmy Stewart one, Rear Window, but more of the Brian De Palma one. You should have had a guy in there with that big drill or whatever. That would have been like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian De Palma, I mean, he's the best. He's Carrie, you can't go with him, so.
To get off the subject of music and just on the horror for just a second, since we're big horror fans too, what do you think is a couple of the best horror movies in the 70s that came out that not a lot of people know about, that you would say, hey, check this movie out?
Well, I'm pretty obsessed with most of the movies that came out in the 70s and 80s. Not even just horror movies, but horror, of course, is in my bones and in my blood. But from the 70s, I would have to say, I guess movies like Carrie were, I think, fantastic. She was that was the first kind of underdog misfit movie, and she's not a serial killer in a mask or anything.
Yeah.
Trying to kill anybody. She doesn't even know that she's doing this, and she's kind of innocent, right? And The Shining, I'm a big fan of the cinematography in that movie is just off the charts, and it's patient, and it's not spastic. There's not any handheld or anything crazy out of control. It's a very patient movie, and it scares the living shit out of me. The Exorcist is probably one of the scariest movies ever made. I mean, I don't think you can really top that with too much of anything that I've seen in the last 30 years of horror. I
think Blair Witch maybe comes close because of the way it was filmed, but yeah, I agree with you with The Exorcist. I mean, that's really a scary movie. And Carrie, I mean, the direction by De Palma was simply amazing, and there's still nobody out there like him right now.
Absolutely. And then back to the Blair Witch, that was the first of its kind to be a successful independent movie that kind of started a whole different genre of the fast-paced, handheld, surprised, almost like reality television type of of movie. So you got to kudos for that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that another one from the 70s. There's so many good ones. But one that I can say, I just did an interview for Fangoria, and I guess I got to stick to Toby Hooper's original, like 73. I think it was 73, 74.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Chainsaw Massacre, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually had a chance to work with Toby Hooper on a film, and if you have a chance to meet the guy and actually talk to him, I mean, you could sit down with the guy for hours and talk to this guy. Just his vision of what horror is and what he wants to do visually. I mean, the guy is twisted. So he was a pleasure to work with. So if I said, if you get a chance to meet the guy, definitely you could probably sit down and have 3 or 4 beers with the guy, and before you know it, the night's over. Smoke a cigar, exactly. So I mean, I think I get more excited being around people like Toby and John Carpenter than I do Tommy Lee and
yeah, I hear you there.
And then, no offense to any of those guys, but I mean, I'm around rock and roll all the time, and that's what I am, and that's my life. But outside of it all, I really appreciate this. I don't know. I think that inside there's more craziness that goes on just inside of the mind than actually, physically.
Well, let's look at it this way. Next time you guys are doing a video and such, maybe you should look up Toby Hooper. Maybe he'll direct a video.
Maybe do like a homage to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or like another great movie of the 70s, which you probably know, Chad, is Black Christmas.
Probably. Oh, that is. I remember seeing that as a kid and thinking that was the ultimate horror Christmas Xmas story for sure. At the very end, it's like they never caught him.
Yeah, you don't even know what happened at the end.
Yeah, they never.
And the phone calls were chilling, to say the least.
Yeah.
When the guy called on the phone, it was like the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, I think they remade that one, but I mean, there's no reason to see any of that.
Yes.
The thing that was like so scary about the movies from the 70s is that they just had this like grainy feel, like you're watching it on reel to reel in like, it's almost like the educational movies that they were trying to show you back in the early 80s about taking care of yourself or hygiene. But they would a lot of them would just have this almost like snuff or like torture porn kind of like quality to it when there's not even anything really going on, but that something terrible is going to happen.
Yeah, any minute now. Yeah, you're right.
And I think that just adds like a lure to eeriness, and I think that's probably why people were into the Grindhouse stuff, or that kind of came back when Tarantino and Rodriguez did their movie. I think that spawned like a lot of the old school, the classic B's, I guess, or the Grindhouse.
Yeah,
which I have like hundreds of Grindhouse DVDs that are just completely awful, but they're great.
Well, going back to the album, and this is one thing that I noticed, your vocals on this particular album, you seem to have a wide range of vocal styles on this particular album. Is that intentional, or is it to the song, or particular emotion you're trying to get out of the particular lyrics? Because that's one of the things I noticed. At any particular time in certain songs, you seem to come across differently vocally. Now, is that something you were intentionally trying to do, or is that just your style in general?
I mean, I think it's something that just came out of me natural. I know that I get bored really easily, and I really get bored with something that I've already done. So I don't ever really want to stray the fans away from what music they like from me and what I do. But that just makes me challenge myself even more to try to be creative and outdo something that I've already done. I'm like proud of all the records that we have and most of the songs that I've done, but I could, if I was to listen back on it, I wouldn't be satisfied. So that in itself would just challenge me to do something bigger and something better, because that's what people want. I think people want and expect you. And if you lay this legacy out of what I've started with myself, I mean, I have to outdo it, and I can't be middle of the road with it. not just to people that like the music, but mostly for myself.
So, where did the title of the name of the band come from?
The name of the band?
Yes.
I think, well, there's a bunch of stories, but the real one, so I hear, is it came from a photographer that has actually shot a lot of photos with us, and he's been on the road with us for years, and it was an early show way before I even knew who Nate and Adam were, and they were, it's a drug reference, and they were rolling, I believe they were rolling blunts, and their mom is going to love this, by the way. They're rolling blunts, and there's Vegas blunt papers, so I hear, and there was one left. And they didn't have a band name, and they were getting high before the show. And they're like, what about the Last Vegas? There's one Vegas left. They're like, Last Vegas. Oh, okay, cool. So I think that's where it came from. I don't know.
It sounds good.
I'm sick of just making bullshit up, so I'm just gonna lay it down.
We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that on the Hard Rockology Show. That's where the name came from.
Right. It's a drug reference.
Okay.